Hello YouTube, WJ Sandy Dad here, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to change out your brake fluid on your Crown Victoria. Now the process is virtually identical on every vehicle I've ever dealt with, so this video can be used pretty much for any vehicle you have. Obviously you always want to research and make sure your particular vehicle doesn't have some peculiarity that's added to it by the manufacturer, but you want to first of all make sure you have the right brake fluid. For the Crown Vic .3 is the spec. Some cars may call for a different spec, so you want to check. It's good to have some brake parts cleaner. You're going to need a wrench or socket or something to open up the bleeder valves. On the Crown Vic it's a 10mm. It's a good idea to have some shop towels or rags to wipe things down, clean things up. And you need some 3/8 inch clear tubing as well as something to collect the old brake fluid in. It's not mandatory, but you can also take like a turkey baster and suck the old fluid out of your reservoir here, or you can just let the old fluid pump through as you're flushing. I don't think it's necessary to drain the master cylinder. Some people do. That's up to you. The other thing is, I don't think you need a fancy brake bleeding tool. Some people will say that you do. If you take your clear tubing and bend it in an upside down U shape so that when it comes out of the brake bleeder the fluid has to go up before it goes down, then only air will go up and out. It won't suck air back in. So I think you can do this perfectly fine with just the tubing draining into some sort of collection, such as an old oil bottle. So whether you drain this out first and refilled it with fresh fluid, or you're just starting with this being full of the old fluid, the process is pretty straightforward. We're going to start with the farthest brake away from here and move toward the closest one. Now on most, but not all vehicles, it's going to be passenger rear, driver rear, passenger front, driver front. Your vehicle may be peculiar and have a different routing, but most vehicles are going to have that routing, so that's what we're going to do here. Basically this can be done alone, but it is a whole lot quicker if you have a partner. On the Crown Vic, here's where the bleeder valve is. There's a rubber cap on it. I've already loosened it. It just pops off, and that is your bleeder valve. It's a good idea to clean this before you open it, and then basically you just want to break it loose with about a quarter turn. Get your tubing on here ready to go. Now fluid is going to come out when you break it loose, so be ready with your collection. Then the process is very straightforward. You open it, have your partner press the brake pedal. You'll watch the fluid come out. When they've hit the floor, close this. They'll let go of the pedal. When they've let the pedal go all the way back to normal, open it again, have them press it to the floor. Keep repeating until the fluid color coming out of here changes from the darker brown to the nearly clear. When it hits clear, you're done. Close this up and then move to the next wheel. And just wipe down that bleeder valve. And you can see already how much dirt and grime is coming off of there. Like I said, the first thing you probably want to do, since it's probably really tight, is just crack it loose. Then, so now you can open and close it. So right now it's closed even though it's not snugged up. So I'll leave my wrench on there, and then I'll connect the tube. And then, like I said, the tube just needs to go up before it goes back down into your drain collection, and that way when the fluid comes out, it will run upward and the air bubbles will escape all fluid stays here. So if it sucks anything back in, it's just sucking in fluid. When you open and they pump the pedal, it's going to be putting fluid through here under pressure, and then when you close it off, it's not sucking any in. So you're going to basically open, push the pedal, close, let go of the pedal, open, push the pedal, close, let go of the pedal. And so as long as this is staying up, what's coming out will just be the old fluid, and the air will escape as well, and it's not going to suck air back up through here. Now, to keep the hose from falling down while I'm doing this so that I don't have to worry about it, I've just put a little plastic clamp there, and it's not squeezing the hose, it's just keeping it from falling down. And then you see I just got it gonna drain into the oil bottle there. And then remember, when you're doing this, you don't want to let this get low. I probably check it way more often than necessary, but I don't like to let it get below the halfway line there. Also remember to keep this stuff sealed very tightly, and don't store it for a long time because it will absorb moisture and basically ruin the fluids. You want to do this fairly quickly. Obviously it's inevitable that it's going to have some exposure to moisture. But you want as little as possible. And yes, I did overfill it while we're doing the flush because we're pumping this fluid out of there. Obviously when you're done with your flush, you want to make sure that it's not filled past the max line. Press, release, press, release, press, release, press, release, press, release, press, release. Alright, I've tightened that up. That fluid doesn't seem to be changing color anymore, so that's probably as good as we're going to get it. And then the trick is to kind of maneuver this hose so that it drains instead of spilling all over you. I may have cut this hose too long. I can always shorten it. But, you know, I always say it's better to start with too much and cut it shorter than to have not enough and then run into trouble later. But I can probably cut this somewhere around here, so it's just basically one kind of upside down U-shaped loop. So we'll let gravity drain that into there. Snug that up, put the cap back on, put the wheel back on, and then we're ready to move to the next wheel. And these will get progressively quicker the closer you are to the master cylinder. So like this one took a bunch of pumps to get the fluid all the way back here. The next couple wheels will get shorter and shorter. When you're at the driver's front, sometimes it's just a pump or two and you're getting clean fluid out. Now if you're stuck without a partner to help you, the way to do this is you crack it open and you leave it open and you just go pump the pedal. The problem is it pushes fluid out, sucks back, pushes out, sucks back, pushes out, sucks back, so it takes a lot longer. Press, release, So the front is right there. And just like in the rear, we're going to crack it loose first, because they're usually really tight. And then we just want it where we can tighten and loosen it that easily. The wrench on there, and the hose on there. Route the hose upward. Connected it right there, and that gives it that upward path so that the air will travel up and the fluid will both be bled and flushed while we do this. Obviously, if you're just needing to bleed the brakes, then you're not going to need to pump the pedal nearly as many times. Press, release, press, release, release, press, release, press, release, press, release. Then you want to get on level ground and refill your master cylinder approximately to the max level. Now here's the thought process on this. As your brake pads wear, the fluid level is going to drop. So ideally it's at max when your pads are brand new, and that gives you an idea of where they are in the brake pad life. But I've filled it basically back up, even though I know they're about half done, so I will have to watch this level a little more closely or check the pads periodically. But since I've greased them all up now, there shouldn't be any squeal, so they won't squeal hopefully until it's time to replace them. Then the last thing we need to do to kind of reset the pads is just to press the pedal, and you'll notice that the first few times you press it, it's like there's nothing there, and then it'll slowly build up. After you feel that it's got normal pressure, then you want to take it on a gentle road test and just make sure everything is working right.